going to be a great treat for all of us because we have pulled together probably the 4 best talk show hosts on subject matter, on interests, and on knowledge of anybody in the nation on the right and the left. On the left, they are from Air America and from Quake. On the right, they are from, of course, KNEW. And they are really talented people. You listen to them day in and day out on talk radio, you know that they generate a considerable amount of attention to their subject matter, and they don't mention the name Michael J. Fox ever. Certainly not like Rush does. These are real, wonderful people. Let me tell you how the process is going to go. I have a coin that was minted this morning, and once I have introduced the 4 people on the right, the 4 people on the left, you are going to get an opportunity to watch the coin flip and have me call it without anybody checking to see who gets the first question. As the questions unfold, each will have about 2 minutes in which to answer one from the other. And there is a gentleman right here in front of me who will be given signals as to whether or not there is time. And there is a large bell that will go clang, just as if it's a cable car. It was the bell given to me in 1995. I don't remember for what. That's the bell you'll hear when there's too much time spent doing something. And so, now, let me go on my left, but on your right, people who represent KNEW. They are extraordinarily talented human beings. First and foremost would be Rusty Humphreys. Rusty, where are you? Rusty Humphreys has been on radio for more than 25 years. He has been just absolutely incredible in terms of music, in terms of personality, in terms of doing all the things that he does. He's unusual in that he actually goes out and visits with people, whether they're in Kuwait, whether they're in Gaza, whether at West Bank, you name it, he's been there to do the job of, in fact, reporting. He has clearly been invited by everybody who broadcasts almost anywhere to share his wonderful views. He's on more than 250 stations throughout this nation on a daily basis, and I suspect 7 days a week. If I know Rusty Humphreys, you're going to hear from him. And then joining Rusty Humphreys on this panel of persons and experts on the right are 2 people, and I'll do them together because they come from the station that broadcasts out of Sacramento. They broadcast both radio and television. They've been in the business for more than 25 years. They started in radio early on, separate and distinct, but hooked up in the early 90s in the Sacramento area and have built an incredible following, an incredible audience. They talk about everything, including pets, and I don't mean interns, but including people who do all kinds of things that are just wonderful. They talk politics. They talk about the economy. They do it all. And I'm, of course, talking about Armstrong and Getty, Jack Armstrong and Joe Getty. And then the anchor tenant on the right is a man who didn't really start out to be a talk show person, didn't start out to be a radio personality at all. Some of you will remember him best from Babylon 5, where he was Michael Garibaldi for so many years in the acting business. He wandered out of acting for a brief period of time and decided he wanted to be a politician. He ran for office in the 24th Congressional District, got the nomination in a Republican primary, but lost to the Democrat in that particular election. Probably the best thing that ever happened to him, because he ends up now as a nationally syndicated talk show host doing an incredible job. Jerry Doyle. On the left and on the left and on my right, from the Quake, combination thereof, and from Air America. You've heard the names, and some of you listen closely to them. Bob Agnew just mentioned the first person that I will introduce to you, Rachel Maddow. She, of course, is a Rhodes Scholar, an extraordinary personality, an HIV activist. She's been involved in just so many subject matters, prison reform and others, that she is unique in terms of coming to talk radio because she's actually lived some of the things that she actually discusses. She drives the dialogue in a fashion almost dramatically different from any other talk show host, and it's always that of a Rhodes Scholar, Dr. Rachel Maddow. Joining Rachel is a man whom I've worked with on occasions because he works sometimes as a replacement talk show host for Will Durst and for anyone else who comes down the pike. He has been referred to by those in the business of observing real show business personalities as a young version of Mark Saul. The Contra Costa Times says that he's first basically unmatched in his ability to put together observations about the way life is and who's doing what to whom while making it extraordinarily funny and interesting. Some of you may have had a great opportunity to do what standing ovations have been doing when he did what he called the War on Error. I am speaking, of course, of Johnny Seal. Bob Agnew thought it appropriate, after the last great debate at City Hall, a young woman named Stephanie Miller showed up, and she was so impressive that he replaced Will Durst and Willie Brown with Stephanie Miller in that time slot. And, of course, she carried on just as she did when she was on CNN opposite Babe Buchanan on Equal Time. She carried on in the same fashion she does in the major markets in this country, in Boston, Los Angeles, New York, you name it, Washington, D.C. You can hear Stephanie Miller, and you can now hear her on the Quake right here in San Francisco, Stephanie Miller. And then a very delightful man whom I just had the pleasure of meeting briefly over at the station when he came to broadcast from here while in town to do some book signing. And then this afternoon at lunch before coming here, I had a chance to spend a little bit more time with him. I wanted to spend time with him because he has currently in publication for sale 17 different books in multiple languages all around the world on subject matters ranging all over the place, whether it's psychiatry, whether it's ecology, whether it's the economy, whether it's religion, you name it. And for whatever reason, this extraordinary brain, Tom Hartman, is doing just that. Ladies and gentlemen, the other member of the team on the left, Tom Hartman.